like we have a inner game of wokenness here, and yeah, a little bit more to come on your Friday. Thanks so much for tuning in. Hi, everybody. Thanks so much for tuning in on this 11th hour Black Spring with Autumn. Hope you guys are doing well out there. I just have just a couple of things. Um, One will be a little bit, maybe it's somewhat pivoting or, in the same ilk, if you will. But the first one is going to be a little bit more on a wokeness. And I typically don't go into, I think it might be kind of a hybrid wokeness between two spectrums or whatever. But we're going to talk a little bit about I guess we're looking at safe spaces in the tennis world, as if there weren't some implied wokeness going on there in the first place. But we're going to look at that, and we're also going to take a look at some of the things that are happening with BLM, and yeah, that's what we're going to do. So I'll be right back after just a few words of thanks to our. Can you guys give me a one if you cannot hear at this point? Yeah. So we're going to look at a couple of stories here, and it looks like I'm frozen or dealing with some bit of a lag here. But we'll be right back after a couple of infomercials. Thank you guys so much for tuning in. I really appreciate it. All right, guys, thank you so much for tuning in. I want to say hello to everybody that is in the chat. Thank you guys so much for coming in. And hello to DJ Vision Barnett. Thank you so much for coming in. Anthony Scioli. It's been a lifetime. How are you? Nice to see you around here. And Tyrant Spain, TDOA. Thank you guys so much. And thank you so much for the support and the on the audio there, TDOA. Thank you so much. So we're gonna get on with our Friday nugget or flash, if you will, and we're gonna go ahead and start with a bit of a piece that we don't normally do around here, but maybe I would save it to kind of break up some of the other things here. But I tell you what, we're gonna switch gears for a second. Instead, we'll start with the BLM first. Not sure if you guys have heard yet, but looks like Patrice Cullors has decided to step down, and this one is actually coming out of we're citing the New York Post, and this is a Black Lives Matter co-founder Patrice Cullors resigns amid controversy. And I don't know about you, but I'm not sure if you could seen this coming, or I'm not sure. You guys are pretty astute in the chat, and yeah, I mean, there's been quite a few rumblings, I think, throughout many communities about, I guess, what do you think, the house portfolio, the home portfolios, and I guess who knows what other investments, but um, yeah. So we'll go into that, and I also have a clip of a little bit of a giddy exit speech from her. So how about we go ahead and start out with let's go ahead and have a word from her first, and then we'll glean from there. We'll glean from some other editorial sources on that. Hope you guys are doing well out there. Thank you so much for tuning in. And as we're dealing with censorship or suppression around here. So if you could, hit the like button and help us feed the AI around here, it might help us out with the dissemination of the stream, or just even maybe even enhance the quality of the stream. So we'll go there. Hopefully I can make this happen for you. I know that sometimes some of these other platforms, they don't share that easily, or they're just not really talking to each other that well, I guess. But we'll see what happens here. Once again, hope you guys are doing well out there. And looks like I'm to the end of it, but even if I can't do it here, I might be able to grab it somewhere else. Tyrant's Bane TOA is coming in with a gusty dog and pony. Thank you so much, TDOA. We appreciate you around here. And yes. So, but just for a little bit of landscaping, I guess. We've talked about a little bit of the controversy with Black Lives Matter and their co-founder all the way back into December of last year, when, for one, the coolers ended up rising to the directorship, or the level of executive directorship out of that group. And of course there were other chapters that were in the trenches, doing all of their work and their avocation, and in the streets, and the rest. But there was also some tension about them being eligible. They weren't receiving any of the funds out of the millions and millions of dollars that they received, that those chapters, they went forward and said, hey, we're applying for some of these funds. If there's a grant that you guys have, we'd like to apply. And unfortunately, they were told that they did not qualify for, I do believe it was a $500,000 grant, but you would think out of several millions, they made several million dollars. And out of 10 chapters in some of the major cities in this country, they were told they weren't eligible for that money. So that's when the can, started, I don't know if things started rolling. And TDOA says Kabuki Theater. So yeah, so let me see. I'm going to try to pull this off for you. Worst case, I think I can. Managed to do it the other day. So we'll see. A little giddy here. A little bit of hypocrisy, but that's, what do you expect, right? Okay. So I'm going to go ahead and give you guys some full scale on this. You can hear from Coolers herself. You don't have to take my word for it. All right, guys. Thank you so much for tuning in.
Hey, everybody. Welcome back to my channel. I am so excited to be here. And yes, you read it right. Today, I am going to be talking about me transitioning out of Black Lives Matter Global Network Foundation. I know. I couldn't have told you that when I started Black Lives Matter with Alicia and Opal, how it would change and transform not just my life, but millions of Black people across the globe. And for over 7.5 years, I was in the day-to-day of that organization, working with our chapters, working alongside elected officials, challenging the police. And at the end of 2019, many of you don't know this, I actually stepped back. I didn't make a public announcement. I really wanted to see the next generation of leadership lead. And when the uprising happened last year, folks inside of Black Lives Matter asked me to come back. And I had to really think about it. Like, it's a lot of work, it's a lot of responsibility. I love the work. And so, yes, I came back and I've been here, and it was always supposed to be interim. And so now is my time. Many people are probably like, oh God, who's going to be showing up for the movement now? Who's going to be showing up for the organization now? No worries, y'all. There are amazing, competent folks inside of the Black Lives Matter Global Network Foundation. We have amazing leaders at Black Lives Matter Grassroots. One thing that's important for you to know, we became a large organization literally overnight. Most organizations our size take about a year to figure out what they're going to do so they can manage the money well, so they can manage processes well. And so this team is going to take time to really figure out what the next steps are for this org. It makes me feel hopeful about what's possible, hopeful about being able to change the very systems that have harmed us for so long. I feel excited. I feel excited for our movement, and I feel excited for me and my next journey. Hey,
All right, guys. Thank you guys so much for tuning in to this segment of Black Spring with Autumn. So I don't know about you, but I have a bit of a wide range of audience members, and they're all from diverse and different backgrounds. I don't know, but for those out there that are black or identify as black or African American or whatever you identify as, these days, do you feel that your life has changed? Do you think or do you feel that your life has changed because of this organization? I mean, she's trying to reassure you that don't worry, it's all going to be it's all going to be taken care of. There's competent people out there, and there's competent people out there to keep this going. So I don't know about you, but what can we say on a collective? What are the collective, or dare I say, what are the tangibles that have come forward with this organization? I mean, well, I don't know. What do you guys think? So yeah, just if you'd like to respond, of course, or of course you guys can talk amongst yourself. We like that around here. So yeah, I mean, what, a few people got rich, but I don't think it was. I can't say that I see a direct impact. I figure, if this was about the people and communities, why can't you take some of the money that was earned, or takes, dare I say, earned? Uh, how can well how why wouldn't you take some of the money, whether it was because I know those, I mentioned those other groups, the local, some of the local chapters, the smaller chapters, the 10 major cities. Why didn't you reinvest some of that money with them, or make sure that they actually got the grant funding money to keep their projects up, rather than letting them have them crowdfund for everything? Or why wouldn't you, with COVID going on and everything, you had opportunities, right? Because if you were channeling, even if you were saying you were channeling your inner Black Panther organization, maybe you would have come up with some type of food pantry or something like that, right? I don't know. I haven't seen that. I mean, in fact, I've seen more people that happen to be white, possibly white liberals, with Black Lives Matter paraphernalia on their cars. I've seen handwritten written signs, and I just don't see the direct impact on. I don't. I mean, even the cities, say for instance, even Minneapolis and some of those cities, some of those businesses that were burned down, they happened to be Black, and those people were pleading and begging people not to loot, burn, steal in the name of whatever. But I don't know. I'm just saying. So we have a response here. Terrence Bain TDOA says, but he says no, but she did change the lives of Black conservatives, or BLM at least. I don't know. TDOA, could you expound? I'm not sure. She changed the lives of Black conservatives. I'm not sure I'm picking up what you're putting down here. Um, and maybe she did. She gave them some, gave them some extra content, perhaps. But will I say that? In fact, if I'm not mistaken, all the names, all the people that they rallied behind the name in the name of the people that they were so-called fighting for, those people have been quoted as sick of that organization and basically kind of calling them out. Um, yeah, I don't think that I wouldn't say that. I wouldn't say that the people that they were fighting in the name of who they said they came in the name of. I wouldn't say that those people benefited from that. I really wouldn't. I just think I would be, I'd be disingenuous to say that, oh, you guys actually served the greater good. It looks like you got in and you got out, even though somebody got hurt, is what you did. It's like, what is it like? Every time somebody, you kind of cash out and you exit, right? That's what it looks like to me. I mean, I'm just saying. I mean, I'm just saying the bait and switch, the yeah, the bait and switch, it works. It works. And unfortunately, just because I don't know why do people just kind of fall over, or every time somebody puts black on the front of something, it's just you can't be taken by that every single time. It just you can't. You can't. Okay, so Tyrus Bane TDOA says they have Black conservatives, some fodder and content. I'm speaking about popular conservatives who speak on BLM every other video to push division and make their base happy. Well, perhaps that's definitely an interesting perspective, and yeah, but like I said, I mean, to me, I figure, if you're going out here and saying you're in the trenches and you're grassroots, and the people that you say you're fighting in the name of, if they're not benefiting, then you're kind of fraud. You just, I don't know. She's looking like more of a capitalist to me. She's investing in real estate. Everything that she talked about, that she said she didn't stand for, is what she's benefited from. So it's a little bit worse. It's looking a bit worse. But maybe she's just trying to get them to stop talking about her. And yeah, I don't know. Who knows? But the irony here is it's not too long ago you've exalted yourself to the executive director. Before that, nobody exactly wanted to say that who's the founder of this organization. Nobody even claimed that. Nobody even claimed the position. Nobody said that they were the leader. But then all of a sudden, you get a little, your place and your portfolio is exposed, and now you're out. So I don't support this organization. I will not support this organization. I don't care who they get to come in. I'm not going to support it. And yeah, it's not a good look. But if you look at the comments on her page, people are thanking her, and some of them are calling for a Nobel Peace Prize. You can't make this stuff up. I don't know. And see, to me, I would figure that why don't you have some live testimonials from the people that you rallied in the name of? Why don't you have them speak a good word about it, rather than you speaking about yourself and making people think, oh, well, I was in retirement, and but give me my flowers now. I only came back because of popular demand. It's just such BS. And I mean, I think a lot of people are sick of this organization on so many levels. They're sick of it, but they're not going to say anything because they think they're being disloyal, or they think they're being, I don't know, they'll lose their street creds or something. It's, hard way to make a living. All right. And TDOA says she took the money and ran for show. Yep. Okay, as I'm just saying, if she was that concerned about the people and making a difference, and I just still, but the average person that supports this group, if you ask them today, what is the mission of that group? What is the mission of that group? What was their goal? Was it to feed the kids during COVID-19 until they could get their footing? I, I'm just saying, you can't list three things. You can't. What was it? If I'm not mistaken, what was the Panthers that at least they did, like they had like community, they like free breakfast programs, and they, promoted literacy, and they there was something circulating in the community other than white liberals and skinny jean crooks on, you know, ravaging, pillaging through the streets. Ugh. Okay. But yeah, that's that. And so yeah, hang on just for a second. So we'll probably just round that one out. But I just wanted you to hear that. But see, to me, this is the typical kind of thing. Like nobody wants to see an organization fail, but if the pretense is false, what do you expect? I mean, it didn't even take that long, right? It didn't take long for her to exit, but I don't know who's going to come in next after this. I really don't. But yeah, but I guess she's done. But she'll probably end up on one of these networks or something. She's got book deals, and she's made a lot of she's done well for herself. She took care of herself, okay? That's what I'm on about. She took care of herself. You can't fix it up. And let me go back here really quickly. It's Joseph Francis Burton. Thanks so much for tuning in. I really appreciate it. He says, serious question. Has BLM improved the life of a single person besides the economy? No. That's what I'm on about. No, she hasn't. I will say most unequivocally, no, she has not. I mean, I just don't know. I would think that when you have a proven record of changing the lives of other people, you don't usually have to talk about it amongst you don't have to do it. You don't have to do self attestations, right? You usually, those people will talk about it, or those people will, it'll spread, in the community, right? Or other people will talk about it. They'll speak highly of you, and you don't really have to do anything, but just let it come in, watch it come in. And sometimes you won't. Sometimes we never get what we're due for every little thing that we do. Whether you're a teacher, no matter what service you provide in life. I mean, teaching is not exactly a service, but you don't always get compensated for everything you do. A lot of times you overwork, the hours are long, the pay is the rates are horrible. And and sometimes you don't have a lot of time for yourself. But I don't see that here. I really don't. Okay, so we're going to go ahead and round out on that one. But just thought you guys might like to know that she's going to be signing off for all co-founder purposes. Now, out of 3 co-founders, I have no idea what the fate is. I really don't. But I know that we tracked it a little bit. We tracked some of the developments, and I don't know what it means. But she also kind of touted what typically happens for a group their size. I think she was kind of patting herself on the back. Well, this is what we were able to do with this size of organization while I was here. But there again, that's what it's empty calories you're bragging about. Sounds good, but what's behind it? There's no teeth behind it. Where's the difference that you made? Why are people thanking you? I don't know, but just asking. All right. Taryn Spain TDOA says she didn't help Black folks. No benefit whatever. And Alex Bleeping Jones says to end the nuclear family and advance Marxism. Well, yeah. What is it? I'm not going to say what I heard today. I heard a new what BLM stands for. It is not was not what you think. It stands for something else. All right, so Terrence Bain, TDOA, says that the Black Panthers started, is that WIC, WICC, and protected neighborhoods from drug dealers and racist cops. Okay, thank you for sharing that. And Unique View says, hello, how are you? Thanks so much for coming in. And Alex Bleeping Jones, how are you? Thanks so much for coming in. And Tyrants Bane TDO says Tamika Mallory, perhaps. Not sure about that one. Let's see. Tyrants Bane TDO says, I've changed more lives than her doing my Rocky lives. There you go. You definitely have you definitely woken some people up. Say, wake them up, wake the kids up. You woke the kids up. All right. So yeah, so we're going to go ahead and switch gears. And before I do that, I'm going to take you guys to another story. And this one is going to be, and the source that I'm using on this, I have never used it before, but I'm going to do it. It looks like we've talked about the leader out of the UK, and I'm not sure how much we've gone into that one. We're going to talk about the leader from the UK, the BLM activist in London. I'm not sure if you guys remember that she had actually been shot, but it looks like suspects in her situation are in custody. And we'll be right back right after this. Thank you guys so much for tuning in. All right, guys, thank you so much for tuning into this segment of Black Spring with Autumn. I really appreciate it. And it is a Friday night. So appreciate you guys for taking the time to come in. And if you haven't had a chance to hit that like button, you will have a chance to do so before the close of the stream. So we're going to go on. We're going to go on to this report. All right, so this one is actually coming out of TatumReport.com. This is one of the first articles that I've read from the TatumReport.com. So here we are. According to this, suspects in custody for shooting a BLM activist in London. All right, now this is written by Darius Ricks. According to this, a Black Lives Matter activist, Sasha Johnson, is currently in critical condition after sustaining a gunshot wound to her head by a group of 5 Black men, authorities have revealed. Last Sunday, the incident occurred around 3 a.m. at a property in Peckham, South London, during a house party. Quote, while the investigation is at an early stage, there's nothing to suggest that the woman who was shot was the subject of a targeted attack or that she had received any credible threats against her prior to this incident, end quote, the London Metropolitan Police said. Detective Chief Inspector Jimmy Tell added, quote, I recognize that this incident will have shocked those in the local community, and further afield, I would ask people to avoid speculating as to the motive or the circumstances behind it. If anyone does have information, the most responsible and helpful action is to share it with the police or to remain anonymous with Crime Stoppers, end quote. Initially, multiple sources suggested that the shooting may have targeted, may have been a targeted attack, asserting that Johnson had received death threats prior to the incident. Instead, police suspect that Johnson may have been the unintended victim of a drive-by shooting of a house party by a gang. So here, this is looks like Andy No is the source. I think maybe he broke this story, or at least he's broken it on enough circuits that this is where it's being picked up from. So this is a tweet. British left-wing politician at Hackney Abbott tried to incite unrest when she said hashtag BLM leader Sasha Johnson was shot for her activism. Police revealed Sasha was partying at 3 a.m. when 4 black men shot up the illegal event and one was stabbed. Everyone fled. So, yeah, so here you have a little bit more here. And this is from Black Lives Matter UK Twitter. The BLM UK expresses our shock and solidarity over the shooting of Sasha Johnson, a young mother and fearless political campaigner who was at the forefront of many BLM protests last summer. So, okay, so here we have here, and we also have the London police have released a statement determining there is no evidence Johnson was targeted due to her activism. Sasha's friend Irman Aiton told the BBC, quote, as far as I'm aware, this incident was more related to rival gangs as opposed to her activism. So here you have clips here from My London. And paramedics took Sasha to the hospital where she remains in critical condition. On Tuesday, detectives arrested 5 people on suspicion of attempted murder of Johnson. Police said Wednesday 2 men aged 25 and 28 and 3 teenagers aged 17, 18, and 19 were detained and questioned by detectives. During a vigil held in the Ruskin Park bandstand in Lambeth, London on Monday afternoon, BLM supporters and other activist groups were looking for another reason to justify the situation by claiming the white media were the ones to blame. The supporters played drums, ironically chanting quote, Black Power, end quote, while also praying to see Miss Johnson pull through and survive her injuries. After the incident, Labour MP Diane Abbott suggested that absolutely no evidence shows that Johnson had been targeted for her activism. So, of course, you have quite a few journalists or pundits chiming in on this one. Quote, nobody should have to potentially pay with their life because they stood up for racial justice, end quote, with hashtag Black Lives Matter. However the situation may unfold, it's very disheartening to see and hear about another senseless, violent act, especially when a false narrative is being spread. It seems that even in countries other than America, there's always an assumption as to the why. It is important to always wait for all the information to come forward before we place blame on an individual or speculate their motive. This story is developing. Clearly. All right, guys, thank you so much for tuning in. Let's see. Latin Patriot, how are you? Says anyone else here? Says only one in the chat. Well, I see a different number here. So I'm not sure. Not sure about the analytics here. Joseph Francis Burton, how are you? And Latin Patriot, how are you? Thank you so much for coming in. Okay, so Latin Patriot. Okay, so yeah, so that's that is a developing story, and yeah, so we'll see what happens there. But I just think that it's interesting that they talked about narratives in there, but it does weaken the case. It does weaken the narrative or the pretense. It does weaken the pretense that we've heard for such a long time on on who's actually targeting who. And in this case, this is not quite, it doesn't quite add up. But like I said, we'll see what happens with this. But I think it's already, kind of falling apart. And that's why I'm saying, dare I say, globally, domestically, I have no idea what the fate of BLM is. I really don't have. I don't know what their fate is. It does not look very good right now when you've got, America, because America right now to me looks like they've got people looking at America solely in some ways as the bastion of um, of white supremacy and all these Marxist um, smoke screens. But then on the other end, you have the UK leader being, you know, shot or the victim of a bullet that, that was. See, the thing about I don't. They always sanitize and say, oh, it was unintended. It was unintended, so that makes it all right. So it was going to be fine. It's fine because it was intentional. It was unintentional that she was shot. So it's just, yeah. So we'll see. We'll see what happens with that. All right, guys. So then we're going to change gears a little bit. We're going to go to the wokeness, as if you need any more wokeness in your life. But this next story, I guess, picks up where another one leaves off. And because, of course, in the world of sports, which I don't really cover, I don't cover sports around here so much. I know I've made some comments about Kwame Brown and some things going on there, and that situation's brewing and getting a lot of traction. But this next one is going to be pertaining to the world of tennis. So I'm not sure if you guys are tennis fans or not, but we're going to go over to another story. But before we do, I will be right back right after this. Hey guys, it's Black Spring with Autumn here. And if you'd like to help us out with our AI and dissemination of the stream campaign, please hit that like, unlike, dare to throw caution to the wind by sharing, or just making sure that you're still subscribed to the channel. And I want to thank you for your ultimate and baseline level support here on Black Spring with Autumn. And we'll be right back right after this. All right, guys. Thank you guys so much for tuning in. So we have a rising star, and of course, Naomi Osaka. Familiar with her. She is a tennis champion, as well as the number 2 in WTA right now. However, this is, the wokeness that I was talking about. So according to this, Naomi Osaka's French Open press boycott not meshing with fellow tennis stars. So I'm going to be honest, I really don't know how much longer they're going to be able to keep up all the wokeness, because I'm thinking, what is it? What is the next Olympics? I think they've already banned the whole wokeness demonstrations. So I guess they need to write some rules for everything else too. Who knows? But we're going to get into this piece. Thank you guys so much for tuning in on this segment of Black Spring with Autumn. Hope you guys are doing well on your Friday night. And we're going to this story. Okay, so according to this is coming out of Fox News. This is penned by, according to this, it's Brian Gatos, number 1 Ashley Barty, and Iga Swiatek said they're okay with talking to press. All right, I'm not gonna play the graphic here. We're gonna go from here. Okay, according to this, Naomi Osaka's decision to boycott the press events during the French Open didn't exactly jive with her fellow tennis superstars, including the number 1 ranked Ashley Barty. Osaka said earlier in the week she would be avoiding the media, citing the strain it causes her mental health. She said she knows she would be fined for skipping out on the press events, but hoped the fines would go to a quote mental health charity. My gosh, okay. I, I digress. Sorry. Barty, who is set to start her quest for a French Open title on Sunday against American Bernarda Pera, gave reporters her take on speaking with the media. Quote, "We know what we sign up for as professional tennis players," end quote, the Australian star said via Reuters. Quote, "I can't really comment on what Naomi is feeling or her decisions she makes." Quote, "At times, press conferences are hard, of course, but it's also not something that bothers me. Certainly doesn't keep me up at night, what I say and hear, or what you guys ask me," end quote. Here you have a graphic. This is Barty here. And Iga Swiatek won the French Open last year, added she didn't think it was difficult, quote, difficult talking to reporters, and said it gave her a chance to, quote, explain our perspective, end quote. Gilles Moreton, the president of the French Tennis Federation, also disagreed with Osaka's position. Quote, it's a deep regret for you journalists, for her personally and for tennis in general, end quote, he said via Yahoo Australia. Quote, "I think this is a phenomenal mistake. It shows to what extent today the need that there's strong governance in tennis. What is happening there is, in my opinion, not acceptable. We will stick to the laws and rules for penalties and fines," end quote. Okay. Osaka, the number 2 female tennis player in the world, made the announcement Wednesday. I've often, quote, "I've often felt that people had no regard for athletes' mental health, and this is very true whenever I see a press conference or partake in one," end quote, she said. Quote, "We're often sat there and asked questions that we've been asked multiple times before, or ask questions that bring doubt into our minds. And I'm just not going to subject myself to people that doubt me." Quote, "If the organizations think they can just keep saying, quote, do press or you're going to be fined," end quote, and continue to ignore the mental health of the athletes that are the centerpiece of their cooperation, then I just got to laugh. All right. So there you go. That's so I just have a few comments on that. But I guess for the most part is, even it doesn't really matter what your craft is, what your craft is, whether it's sports, whether it's, tennis, whatever it is, you really have to, it's just I think it's just it is a part of the gig, but being able to talk to people and to express yourself, and sometimes it's even you even have to you offer a defense, but in as artists we do that, and it's to me it's what you make it. I mean, at this point, I mean, Osaka's been around for a little bit. She's already won quite a few championships. So I would imagine, like, okay, at this point, maybe you need some coaching on actually taking interviews, or if this is about mental health, then there's treatment for mental health. Why should your problem with taking interviews, impede everybody? I'm just thinking, if this is an anxiety issues, there are people that actually get paid to help people manage anxiety issues. It's not a shaming, it's not an element of shame that you have anxiety, but also I find that, and I'm not a psychologist or psychiatrist by any stretch, but if you have anxiety about this, and there's something there, you have anxiety about some other things too, or is it an issue of, your insecurity that's making you run away from, press conferences? I've just not heard of that. But we've seen the woke mob, and I've seen a lot of things. I've seen Osaka kind of transform over the I've seen Osaka transform over the years. And it seems like she initially came in as somebody that was proud of her heritage, And like all of a sudden now it just seems like the machine like swallowed her up. So now she's got to prove that she's in the control, that she's controlled by what the American standard of blackness is right now. She's got to wear turbans and things that she wasn't. She's got to throw it on thick. She's got to wear BLM gear. She's got to be an activist now. It's like, to me, you're really not even enjoying the game of tennis so much. Maybe she doesn't want to deal with any of those questions about, just like I can see her evolution over time. I'm sure they would have questions about, about just about anything. It could be about anything. Like I said, I don't want to add too much conjecture, but I'm just saying, if you're representing these organizations, then why not stand up to them and say, hey, I support this, or be the activist if that's what you're doing. But I have no idea why. But it good for the rest of the players if they're going to say, hey, we're going to do take our press conferences, and it'll be what we make it. So I mean, and of course I've seen reporters be brutal and maybe not objective to them, but at the same time, I don't think it's something that destroys you, or that you just fold up and just fall apart. I don't know. But the thing about it is, I think that's a little bit of hypocrisy, because how can you say that you have anxiety about doing a press conference? It's supposed to be about tennis, but then you show up representing a lot of groups, and you show up representing or supporting different levels of activism, but you got an issue with just taking the press conference that's supposed to be about tennis. So what's the problem? If it's is it a tennis press conference, or what are you worried about? you know i I have no idea. I will tell you, just like most sports, they are really turning people off. They're really turning people off, or people are just, you need a safe space just to play a sports. Now, I mean, just play your game. Who cares if the press doesn't believe in you? Is that why you started playing tennis, or you started doing whatever your craft, because you're worried about what the critics say? I don't know. I have no idea. But who knows? Maybe that's going to be another movement that they're going to start. But I would think that that would be your time to, not just defend, but talk about what you do. Do you love what you do? Whatever you have to do. But like I said, I'm sure that'll be, I guess it's just in time for summer, right? Just in time for summer, the drama. All right, maybe back up here. Thank you guys so much for tuning in. So yeah, it's just, I mean, yeah, you just kind of want to shut down on some of these sports. Nobody really wants to coddling people, and it's just too much. Okay, so Latin Patriot says Kwame Brown been doxxed bad lately. The lefties have also doxxed Tommy Sotomayor, his family, including his little girl's school. The lefties are criminals. Sure. They're fascist. It's, to me, it's a machine. The rapper says, have I been to Trump? What do you mean? No, I don't. Okay, no, I don't know what. I don't even know what the name of it is. He says, have I been? No, I haven't. What's the name of it? What's the name of the new website? Let's see. Um, and the rapper says, he says leftists are terrorists. Arguably, yeah, for sure. And the rapper 10,000 says too many of them are fake pro-blacks. And Latin Patriot says, I got to remember to use the right terminology. But I remember at one point that they were like, when I think when the season started, or like at the end of the last season or last year, that they had cardboard figures. They had cardboard figures of blacks in one of the stadiums, and they moved all of those cardboard figures to the front. They moved all of the black cardboard figures to the front of the tennis arena, and there was nobody there. But there's nobody there. I Yeah, it's just not, to me. It's not even about the game anymore. It's just not. And then the commentators, every other word out of their mouth. I think even the what's her name, the Katrina, whatever her name is, the USTA president. You can't do anything without this stuff. You just can't. Like, but I do think, what is it, Tokyo, wherever the Olympics is next. I think they've already said no. We're not going to deal with this. America, you guys can just keep flapping around and doing what you're doing, but you're not doing that here. And it's really bad. It's not a good place that we're in. Definitely not leading. And the rapper says Black people and athletes need to represent themselves as a person, not as a group. Yeah, well, that goes against the whole. Once you end the group, you kind of destroy the whole. You kind of destroy the power, right? You kind of, as if people are thinking, individually, or reflecting on themselves, then they're not really blaming others, and they don't have to influence other people's lives, right? Okay, yeah, and I agree. But I do think, it's good that at least for now, the other tennis players are just kind of standing their ground. Well, you don't want to do your own conference, your own press conference, and just, well, no. But I mean, that's pretty standard. I mean, for as long as I can remember, not just tennis, but what is it? Boxers. The boxers have press conferences that they have. I mean, that's just what they do. So I have no idea. But see, thing about it is, if they took the opportunity away, then there would be another complaint. So we'll see. And maybe it'll turn into something political inside the tennis ranks, and then they'll have another story. So Latin Patriot says, yes, the lefties are terrorists and are fake pro-blacks. I know one old lady, she heard me listening to Trey, the NBD. I'm not sure that reference. And she asked me why I was listening to black people. Not sure. I'm not sure if let's see. Because I asked the old lady why she's asking who I was listening to. Who I was listening to was black. She couldn't even see him. She said, oh, he sounded black. Yikes. Okay. So that's pretty heavy, Latin Patriot. And let's see. Let me get to this comment. The Rapper 10,000 says, I think the site is called the Office of Donald Trump, end quote. I've gotten emails to donate, but I did not have a credit card to donate. Yeah, I have no idea. I am just I don't know. I've been, it's interesting to watch what's going on with social media right now. I mean, I think a lot of people are watching Kwame Brown. In fact, just FYI, I don't know if you guys tuned into that today, but I think when he had Judge Joe Brown on today, that was pretty raw, I mean, the thing about it is, I find that just looking at the comments and some of the things that I've seen, some of the responses, some people still just think it's about, some people, oh, well, he's too harsh. He's throwing around the N-word. He's doing this. He's doing that. Well, I don't think it's, that's his style. And I will say, I do think he's genuine with his intent. And I do think that I think he's coming from a place of experience. And maybe, maybe he will start a movement. And but I don't see it going away. And I think a lot of people want it to go away, because when you think about it, people, when you learn better, you do better, but that actually takes some effort. It takes effort to do better. Or I know somebody said something to me when I said I think he's making um, you know, Black America think again. And of course, the troll babies, the troll babies came after me. And they said, "Oh, so we're not thinking now." I said, "You know what the word? Did you read for understanding? Did you catch the word again?" And that's not limited to one time. Sometimes again could be three times, four times. It's just I don't know. I mean, it's good. I mean, of course, he's offered a defense for himself, but he's also exposing some much overarching things that are going on. The attacks on masculinity and all these made up terms. And yeah, I mean, yeah, he's talking about the machine, and he's talking about people being controlled, and people being trained to just accept what people say and not question anything, and not and men being apologetic for just being men. And I guess he's going to have to do it. You're going to have to take it as far as you want. And I don't know if he's tuning in. He is watching. He's definitely tuned in to what's going on in YouTube. So I'm not playing I'm not playing any of your videos, or even that stream. That was a bit raw. But shout out to him if he is watching this stream. But yeah, but Judge Joe Brown was there. And of course, Judge Joe Brown has never been, mincing words. He doesn't mince words. So I don't know if you check that out, you can see, because Judge Joe Brown went through a lot of history today, a lot of history, like a lot of pre Biden administration history on Biden. He gave tons of testimonials of things that he witnessed, and just the culture of the machine, and what I call elitisms and classism. He went into a lot of that. And yeah, and the thing about Kwame Brown, he's very much Southern in his mannerisms and and I can see that even in the values, because I could tell the way, because once Joe Brown starts talking, Judge Joe Brown starts talking, he just talks. And uh, Brown let him do it. Like, just let it breathe. Let him do it. Because I mean, just for one, I think it's just a Southern mannerism that you don't interrupt, or if you do interrupt, you got to find a place. You got to find your way in and maintain levels of respect at all times. So I can see that. I'm very familiar with you know with Southern pleasantries, and Southern with an elder respect, or an elder in the house. It just kind of changes the. He was of course much more subdued, and not doing his thing, not doing his style, but you know that was that. So let me see what else is in the comments here. But he's a shout out to him, Kwame Brown, for growing his. I mean, I think his YouTube channel is how many hundreds of percent has his channel grown since he started responding to all the talking heads. Let me see, what else do I have? Let me just read this one. The rapper 10,000 says the public needs to not let Fauci off the hook, right? But are they? But you see what I'm saying? Are they not? Are they gonna let him off? I mean, I just don't even know. But you can see already, to me, I think they've already shifted the heat. It's almost like they're taking the heat off of him already in some ways, because at first they were on him, and then they want to go down. First, for them to say they talked about the origins of it, moved from the funding of it to the origins of it. So where's the boomerang going to land next? I mean, I'm going to be honest. I don't think anything's going to happen to him. The rapper, Like I said, I don't mean to be Debbie Downer or negative Nelly around here, but I don't see it. I just don't. As much as I think, not just, but you see these senators, they're calling for firing or him stepping down, but is that where they're going to stop there? At this point, he's been a lot less, condescending, and even in his body language, he has been. But a slap on the ego, is that all? That's all you're going to get, you know. So let's see. Let me finish your statement there. It says involvement with the virus, and we need to demand. Well, like I said, I to your point, and I know many people that feel the same way, and I think something serious needs to happen. But is it? I think the representatives that we have, it has to start with them. When are they going to start not just reading scripts? But I've seen them all act. I've seen them all, capitulate. They even Paul, even Rand Paul. I mean, he's he gets best performance, but are they going to follow through? Just it's not enough to expose somebody. Is it? I don't think so. There's too many things going on. Let's do it. Maria is here. Thank you so much. Let's do it. Maria, thank you so much for coming in. And the rapper says, we knew about this for months, but we need to demand it. Well, yeah, of course. And I've said this before, it's like Groundhog's Day around here. We talk about the same things because it's a loop. The cycle that we're in seems like, we talked about this several months ago, and now it's just now coming out. And now Facebook says you can talk about certain things, now that they've almost gotten away with it. Yeah, now you can talk about it. Now everybody wants to talk about the Cuomos and the Gretchen Whitmers and now everybody wants to talk about all this stuff. But the damage is done, right? There's never any consequences for good intentions with these people. Never. They don't care if it disrupts your livelihood. They don't care if lives were lost. They don't care if your kid is forever traumatized by wearing something over their face, or they don't care. They'll just say, oh, well, we were just helping people. We were trying to help people. Yeah. All under the guise of humanity, right? But who's going to do anything about it? Okay, so Latin Patriot says, yes, Fauci, Pelosi need to be arrested. I have no idea. We just, we're just watching. We're in the movie. We're in the model. I made that reference once before. I mean, there were certain movies, of course, that I enjoyed way back in the day, so to speak. However, I don't know if you guys remember I've made this reference before. Do you guys remember the movie Beetlejuice? Well, of course, when they were kind of playing around with, they discovered this model upstairs in their attic that was the entire town. And of course, they start to see, an illuminated hotel or, they start digging around, and then they realize, they find this handbook, and it tells them, it's their portal between, life and life after death. And all of a sudden they realize if you say this person's name 3 times, you're in the model. And if you want to get out, you got to say it 3 more times just to get out of there. So I think if nothing else, we all should realize we are in the model. We are in the movie. So, but what's anybody going to do about it? How much control do we have? I don't know. It's anybody's guess right now. And the Rapper 10,000 says, in my book, a revolution needs to happen. Let's see. He says, we patriots need to take action at some point. Well, from your word, from your mouth, from your words to this platform. So, I mean, I have no idea. We've done. I mean, a lot of people are kind of talked out. We're talked out. I think everybody has gone back to business as usual, or either they carved out another niche so that their usual would keep them busy right about now. So I have no idea what's going to happen. I don't. But do I have faith that Washington's going to do anything? Can't say that I do. All right. And let's see. You are sharing something with me right now. You said this site is okay. Thank you for sharing that. All right, guys, we're going to take a quick break and then come back and say salute to everyone. I know I did quite a few digressions, but, there's a lot going on per usual. And yeah. All right, I will be right back. And thank you. It looks like I have a new person over on Twitch. Thank you guys so much for tuning in. I'll be right back. Right, guys, as always, thank you guys so much for tuning into this segment of Black Spring with Autumn. And I want to, definitely thank you guys so much for coming in. All right, guys. Thank you guys so much for tuning in to this segment of Black Spring with Autumn. And I want to say hi to everybody in the stream. Okay, I'm going to scroll down here. Looks like we have DJ Vision Barnett that was here. Thank you. And Anthony Scioli, Tyrant Spain TDOA. Thank you so much for coming in and all that you do to support the channel. I really appreciate it. As well as Anthony Scioli. Thank you so much for all you do to support the channel. It's been a lifetime. And we have Alex Bleeping Jones. Thank you so much for coming in. And I need to make a note to self here. Joseph Francis Burton was here. Thank you so much for coming in and all that you do to support the channel. And Unique View was here. Thank you for coming in. I really appreciate it. Latin Patriot. Thank you, Latin Patriot, for coming in. And the Rapper 10,000. Thank you so much for coming in. I really appreciate it. So, I appreciate you guys so much for coming in on this 11th hour. We learned a lot about the inner game of wokeness, which we learn about that every day, whether we want to or not, and we're rejecting it. But it just keeps coming back. And looks like, so just kind of a wonky recap. Again, the inner game of wokeness. Looks like the BLM needs a new shepherdess. And yeah, I guess we'll see what happens with the UK situation. And overall, what the future is with BLM. And thank you guys so much for tuning into this segment of Black Spring with Autumn. Now, I will tell you, it's possible that I will post a video, and it might just be based on some of the highlights or what I think is, some highlights or something. But yeah, but I will certainly put the content host in the stream. All right, JDog One Party RE. And thank you so much for coming in. All right, guys. And we're going to be saying salute. And I will see you guys later. I mean, we'll see what happens. We'll see what happens this weekend. I may be around. But for my Twitch honor roll, thank you guys so much for all your support over there. And what do I have here? Okay. All right, guys. I will see you guys on the next live stream in the comment section on a video, a live stream. Kenji. Hi, Kenji. Thanks so much for coming in. If this, it looks like it's your first time coming in, and maybe you'll watch us in replay. We'll see. But yeah, so I'm going to be saying so long. So catch you guys on the next live stream in the comment section, a video, a moonlight stream, a night queue, and there's a possibility I may do a live stream tomorrow night, and it'll be kind of like for old time's sake in the style. I don't know. Maybe we'll have like kind of a 1 year, something commemorative style for that. All right, guys. Good night or good morning.